in terms of how to structure their study abroad plans given the coronavirus disruptions. So Umesh, let me start by asking you, how is Ed Elevate taking care of its students currently? Are you all online? Are you open? Are you still meeting students in your physical offices? So why don't you fill us up a little bit on that, please?
Thanks, Nilanjan. It is, first of all, my pleasure to be with you, and thanks for inviting me over and giving me this platform to interact with the prospective students. Well, so far as the changes in our business are concerned, we have gone virtual for the time being because our kind of business, it's not really mandatory to have physical interactions. So we are open to all our students online. We solve all their queries. We've been having Zoom, WhatsApp meetings with them to address all their concerns about study abroad. And one thing is there that the situation is evolving by the day. There has been a lot of back and forth on policy making, as we recently witnessed US coming up with a law where they withdrew the visa support for students who do not have on-campus courses, who are just permitted to do online training. So we saw that the law was passed and then they retracted. So one thing is clear that policymakers, the governments, the administrators all across the globe do understand one thing, that students cannot be penalized for no fault of theirs.
Yep, yep.
So keeping the safety and well-being as top priority, they are framing the policies in such a way that they encourage and support the international students.
Yes, very much so.
So we've been keeping ourselves updated with the latest policies, the latest announcements that are coming from countries like Canada, US, UK, and we keep helping our students to take the right decision, to take, kind of decide whether they should, start with online offshore classes or whether they should wait and, go for the on-campus classes. So we keep on solving these queries for our students. So on policies, I'd like to quickly run you guys through with the latest that has happened. So countries like Canada have come up with a very, very generous policy for international students. Uh, Earlier, it was required for students to have a full-time status to claim the work visas, the work permit that is being extended for that. In order to be eligible for that, students had to maintain full-time study status in the country. So now, owing to the challenges that we are facing and the crisis we are facing, countries have changed that. Canada has come up with a new rule where even if the student is kind of completing 50% of the curriculum in Canada and 50% offshore through online delivery, they are allowed work visas. Likewise, we see UK also fallen in line. They are also allowing students who take up courses online to apply for the work permits. And we have already seen that the United States of America, has softened the stand for visas. And Australia also, their famous visa 485 subclass category, they have come up with relaxations of similar nature.
Yeah.
So students need not worry about anything. Policymakers, countries are taking care of their interests. They are constantly working in their interest. They are constantly devising policies to help international students.
Surely, yeah. Thank you for that, Umesh. I think to sum it up, InCred, at the sound of, at the cost of sounding uh, uh, that I'm agreeing to everything you are saying. I am agreeing to everything you are saying, that universities and governments will take a friendly attitude towards international students. And we have seen it over the last 3-4 months, not only in terms of online classes being eligible for postgraduate work permits and things like that, which Umesh was talking about in Canada. Even students, so INCRED has about 3,000 students who have completed their masters or their courses and have taken up employment in those countries, right? Even there, a lot of the countries' governments took a very friendly stance towards these people. So if they lost their jobs or got laid off or furloughed because of coronavirus, they were eligible to claim benefit from the government. So in Ireland, it was 1,200 euros a month. In Canada, it was $1,000 a month. Australia let these kind of students dip into their superannuation fund and pull out emergency cash. And there is a big reason for it. And the reason I want to bring the economic impact international students bring to all these countries. So just to the US, Indian students contribute about $6 billion annually. And if you take all countries combined, international students contribute about $45 billion to the US on a yearly basis. And universities depend on the revenue stream of international students. They are important. Not only economically are they important, they also bring a lot of knowledge and the best brains, ideas from different cultures, countries. So international students are prized for their diversity also on US campuses. And that was reflected in the recent, I'm sure all of you are aware of the Harvard MIT versus Trump government court case that happened last Tuesday over the banning of online classes for visas, which Umesh was talking about earlier. Not only did hundreds of universities join that lawsuit. So as soon as Trump declared that offline classes ke liye visa dunga, online classes, I will tell the student to go back to their country or deport them. Harvard, MIT, Yale, University of California system, everybody immediately reacted sharply. Not only universities, but student bodies, think tanks, industry bodies. Matter of fact, Google and Facebook even joined that lawsuit a couple of days before it was supposed to happen. Obviously, the lawsuit, the court hearing se pehle hi the Trump government did an out of court settlement and cancelled the rule, and that is testament to how colleges, universities, and governments across the world will ensure the good being and the well-being of students academically, otherwise everywhere. So again, the advice from to the students who are here today is that you may be in a lot of uncertainty, but worry not. There are people like Umesh who will guide you through the uncertainty. There are agencies like InCred, platforms like InCred who will still help you with the financing ability. We have a completely online way of looking at your loan, so you don't have to go to a physical branch, etc. And you will go through this. And also most governments have taken a good stand. You guys, even in the US and other countries, STEM labor is in short supply. So some of you going for STEM courses will get into STEM jobs later on. And that economy, be it the US or Canada, that economy needs that support, okay? And therefore you will be taken care of. Don't worry, there is some disruption, but I think as the coronavirus comes under control across different geographies and countries, dhire dhire all this uncertainty will go away. And matter of fact, it is a really good time to study. When you graduate and come out of university, the major economies of the world should be on a rebound. Same thing happened in 2008 when the US faced there was a global financial meltdown. The rebound was really good, for especially for students going into higher degrees. Similar things will happen now. So that's what I wanted to say from my part. Umesh, thanks for sharing your views. I know that you work with students very closely, and you have a lot of students in touch with you, asking you about what they should do, how they should spend their time, how they should prepare, what they should keep in mind. So do you have some advice for them? Do you want to address that part a little bit for our students today?
Yes, I certainly have a lot of advice for students. And, okay. So the international students actually contribute a lot to their economy. Not only do they pay tuition fees higher than the local population, but they do bring in a lot of revenue in terms of the expenditure that they do while they stay in a respective country. And they, not to forget that they bring in a whole lot of new ideas and form startups, generate revenues, in many ways in different countries. And Indians are, of course, everywhere. We are only second to China in terms of the population that is studying abroad. Uh,
And in
before
real
I,
population too.
sorry,
And in real population too, India,
in real
China, and in
population too. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. So before I start sharing some tips and suggestions with students, I would also like to ask you, Neil, that what is going on at InCred, and what is the process that you guys follow for sanctioning the loans and helping them with financial aid at
Yeah,
InCred.
great. Let me quickly sum it up. As you mentioned earlier with Ed Elevate, you have moved your processes online mostly. Same here with InCred. In fact, it was not too much of a challenge because InCred is a tech-led startup NBFC, so all of our processes are very much technology backed and developed on various cloud platforms. So in terms of work, it was an easy transition. I think it wasn't much of a challenge. The business continuity didn't come to a sudden halt or anything. The challenge on a personal level was the fact that our cooks and domestic helps were not there. So to take care of household chores and also to work was a revelation of sorts, and we learned new ways to manage our time and our efforts, obviously. Also, in terms of the InCred loan application, we have just launched our fully online loan journey where students can log in, check what loan they can get, apply for the loan, get a decision online, upload documents online. So I think we designed and launched that in a very fast manner just to ensure that we do it. This is the right time to do those kind of changes. So we did that. My team will actually reach out to you soon, and integrate your platforms with ours on this technology front. So our loan options are open. We have been open the last 3, 4, 5 months throughout. We received 2,000 loan applications even during the two of the slowest coronavirus months, meaning that students are still planning to go abroad, and obviously there are platforms like yours and mine which are open. So we are open. I know that students have a uncertainty about paying the processing fee once their loan is sanctioned, because they don't know if they will go or if they will defer and all of that. So we changed our processing fee policy also. We have told students that it is a refundable policy, a processing fee, and we will, if your plans cancel, if you're not able to fly, or if you defer, we can refund the processing fee to you. And also we have reduced the fee upfront to less than, so it was about whatever it was, we have less than halved it, just to make sure that students can facing financial difficulties in their families are able to pay a token amount and get the sanction letter upfront. So these are some of the changes. Thanks for asking, Umesh. uh, Talking about students, I think the reason that we are all here are our students. And then talking about these students, we would want to now, I would actually want you to spend some time giving the students some advice, suggestion, and inputs, because you are probably way better suited to do that than I am. So over to you, Umesh. Why don't you tell the students what they should do?
Thanks, Neil. Good to know that you guys have adapted well to the changing times and you have come up with some student-friendly policies, waiving off the fees and kind of shifting the entire process online for their ease and convenience. So these kind of ways are needed in these changing times.
Surely.
So great to know that, and also good to know that your work from home was also work for home. So you
Yeah,
contributed
yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah,
household work as well.
yeah, yeah.
So likewise, I have also done my bit in these times and learned new skills.
Surely, great time to learn new skills.
Yeah,
I think cooking skills of most of at least for me is improved significantly to where it was
yeah,
supposed where it
yeah. So
was.
I didn't know I could wash utensils perfectly. So
Yeah, yeah.
some new skills gained. So, in the next session, actually, we are going to cover how our students can learn and acquire new skills and prepare for higher studies. So, on that note, I would like to get your permission to share a small presentation with all my students.
Permission granted with open wide arms. So please go ahead, take over. Not an issue.
Thank you, thank you. I'll just take a bit to
Yeah, yeah. Not a
load the
problem.
presentation.
Yes, surely.
Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, you are visible. We can see your screen. Yes.
Okay, great. Uh, So a while back, we were discussing about how the policymakers, governments have been constantly working to devise policies that support uh, international students. And trust me, they had to do a lot of working around, and all the governments had to give special clearance to those policies, you know, in favor of their students. So I would say that on one side, they have done their bit to encourage the international students. They have come up with student-friendly policies and laws so that students not only get an opportunity to study, but they also get an opportunity to work post-study because I believe all the students who aspire to study abroad have one thing in their mind that they want to garner overseas experiences by working with companies of their choice. So, policy structures in place, governments, policymakers have done the needful for the students. So now it's over to us. The ball is in our court. The students also should be gearing up for their applications for the forthcoming sessions in spring and fall 2021. So when I say gearing up, if you go through the caption here, infusing positivity amidst a global pandemic, you know, it is very, very important for us to keep moving, keep learning, because we have seen that how this global pandemic caught every one of us by surprise. We never expected that something of this sort could happen and could actually disrupt our planning. But this happened. So, this is yet another reminder that change is the only constant. So, we have to, uh, at all times, we have to be ready to face the challenges and we have to adapt to the changing scenarios now, more so than ever. So I would say that I would give an advice to all the students to remain positive in these challenging times. So by remaining positive, we've come up with this term social distancing from negativity. So negativity is the first thing that settles in during such times. We do tend to overthink a lot about what is going to happen in future. How are we going to cope up? What kind of job am I going to get? How will I complete my education? I do understand that there is uncertainty around, but we have to be hopeful of a brighter and better future, and we have to kind of get rid of that captivity of negativity and start working on our own plan to face the challenges. you know when we are applying abroad, it is very important that we work on our profile. We work on improving our profile. And because universities around the globe, especially the top ones, they look for a well-rounded personality. When we say well-rounded personality, they look for people who have not only got excellent grades in academics, but they have also contributed to extracurricular activities. They have taken leadership initiatives. They have done something for the common good, that is community activities. And they have also done something which is relevant to their proposed major. So for example, you are going for computer science or a degree in analytics. If you take up an internship in the relevant area, or you take up an online course in that area, that would help you to make your profile better for universities admissions. So what are the keys to a successful application? Maybe I'll take a bit of time to talk about those. So this is the time which you need to rather spend wisely. So one way is that we can be captured by negativity, and we can sit at home, do nothing. Sitting at home is definitely the order of the day, because that will keep you protected from the virus. But as we all have laptops and access to internet, we have a choice to make, whether to while away our time, or to spend it wisely. So I'd say I'd go in for later. I would advise you certain measures to get into some meaningful activities which would help you to make your application for admission better. So as I said earlier, they're looking for well-rounded personalities. So you can find ways to engage in extracurricular and community activities. Community activity can start with the participation with some NGO also, and it can start sitting at home as well. Sitting at home, you can maybe start an online campaign, or in your neighborhood, you can find opportunities to make worthwhile contributions. You can distribute food to the poor. You can give education to the poor. So there are a whole lot of community activities that one can take up to improve their community profile. Extracurricular activities are again, much more similar, but they can also be taken up. But there are extracurricular activities that one can take up. Over and above that, you have a sea of courses available to you through portals like Udemy, Coursera, EDX. So go ahead, explore the courses which are a good fit according to your choice of major. So if you're, for somebody, maybe taking up a basic course in MS Excel would create value. For others, it could be statistical tools and courses on business and data analytics, and tools like R, SAS, Python. They can create value. For people going for MBA, getting some courses on strategy and effective communication, and maybe going through some case studies online could make a huge lot of difference. For people going for finance, there are a whole lot of courses in financial management, corporate finance that are available. So guys, go ahead, explore your options online, find out what courses fit you the best, spend some time on gaining new knowledge. As the situation all over the globe is evolving, let us also learn and evolve and prepare well in advance to face new challenges of you know post-COVID times that you are anticipating. I will not take that much of time of yours. I would rather say that we will go into open house very soon to take your questions as well. And on screen, there are various channels through which you can reach out to us if you have any specific queries. We'll be very happy to solve your queries and help you with your academic goals. We are just a phone call away or an email away or a post away. So feel free to reach out to us, and I will ask Nilanjan again to take over from here.
Umesh, thank you. Those were very, very pertinent inputs and advice that you shared with all of us in terms of what students should look out for, students who are planning for, say, a spring or a fall 21 admission. Very, very pertinent inputs. I will not spend too much more time on it. We are almost out of time. However, the last topic that I would like for you and me to ponder on a little bit before we do the question and answers is what is your advice to students who are worried about getting jobs after the course, say in 2022 or 23, when once they complete their masters or their higher education and they enter the labor market? Do you foresee challenges for such students at that point in terms of getting jobs? Do you see any specific sectors of jobs being more in demand as a result of coronavirus? What are your general thoughts around that topic?
Well, it is so very difficult to predict the scenario that would prevail a couple of years from now. But what we have seen so far is that in this pandemic, also, people who kind of were creative, they came up with new businesses, and technology has played a vital role in all of this. So I would say people, even if you are going for a domain like marketing or mass communication or any other field, I would say that keep yourself updated with the latest technology, because as we are working from home and still continuing with our businesses, there would be, if at all, there is some disruption. Work from home will continue in future also. Although I don't foresee such things in 2022, I'm sure our medical experts will come up with a vaccine very soon, and we will kind of stay protected from this virus. But you know, you could still, the tip is that you can gain new skills, and you can make yourself valuable for the company. If you can prove it to the company that you can get the work done quickly, and instead of they requiring two or three people for a task, they can do with one. This way you will become indispensable resource for the company. So keep working on your skills and be hopeful that things will be positive in coming times. you know the jobs are going to be there, either here or there. Work will continue, the show must go on, movement is life. Keep moving, guys. That's what I'd say.
Thank you. Very much so. I think very pertinent. I think technology was, you hit the nail on the head there. In sorts, the fourth industrial revolution has already started, 2, 3, 4, 5 years back. With the advent of AI, machine learning, automation of various sorts, and advanced futuristic technologies such as personal transportation, robotics, cloud technologies, IoT, Internet of Things, stuff like that. So we have already there was already a global push on technology on the last 4 or 5 years. Along with that, analytics, data science, etc., etc. And I think technology will uh, continue to be a driver of creating growth and jobs. And therefore, I think that come 22, 23, once students complete their master's or graduate education and enter the labor market, I think jobs will actually be ample. I think if you are a student um, who is willing to work hard, get good grades, and be serious about your goals and dreams, I don't think um, anything can stop you. Matter of fact, post a crisis, post a global crisis, the opportunities for the most talented and the most hardworking to excel actually become better. So I agree with you. I think
Absolutely. I second that. In fact, working on yourself is going to help you. And when you are at the university, it is important to leverage the ecosystem of the university to your advantage. Not only would university also introduce some subjects and electives to prepare you well for the changing economic scenario, it is in your best interest also that you leverage the ecosystem of the university, join in the relevant clubs, and take the relevant electives, capstone projects, case studies, work on yourself so much so that when you graduate from the university, you are well prepared to be absorbed by the industry.
great. Yep. So thank you again. I think very, very pertinent and relevant views there, Umesh. Having said that, I will now move on to asking you some of our audience questions. If you are in the audience and have a question in mind, feel free to type in. We have about 5 to 10 minutes to address all your questions. So one question that came up, Umesh, and I want you to address this is, in terms of countries, do you have a specific advice whether for spring or fall 21, whether a Canada is a better option to look at instead of say a US or UK? Do you have any particular advice or general guidance to students on that particular thought?
Well, I'd say all the top countries, developed countries, USA, Canada, UK, all of them offer good quality education, infrastructure, research facilities to the students. So it would depend on a student whether they on the choice of major also, whether they fancy their chances of studying in Canada, US. Each country has their own distinct advantage. Like Canada is suitable for people who are looking at good PR opportunities. They have a seamless system to apply for permanent residence. Whereas US is good for students, who particularly want to go for STEM-related courses, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics-related programs, because you get 3 years, up to 3 years of optional practical training. So even if you do not get the work permit, you are allowed to extend your stay by 3 years. Likewise, UK is now turning out to be a promising option with the changes that they are proposing. So each country is good. They've got top class research and infrastructure facilities and the ecosystem for students. Students can perhaps I could answer the question better after analyzing the requirements and potentials of a particular student. So it is always the case that we shortlist countries, programs, and universities that align with their requirements and credentials. As you know, five fingers are not alike. So I would not like to give my word for any given country. All countries are good.
Sure, thanks. I think again very relevant. Which country, course, university is a very case specific kind of issue. without knowing more details about what you are targeting, what are your future goals, etc., it's a little difficult to point you in the right direction. I guess it's best for you to actually contact the team at Elevate and get some more specifics on
I
this.
would also like to add here that we have a special session which we call a discovery session. And this discovery session helps us to understand and deep dive into the candidature of a student, learn about their interests, and then come up with the options which suit them. So they are most welcome to avail a discovery session with us.
Great,
I
great.
invite them all for that.
Okay. Thank you so much for sending that invitation to our audiences. I think that's a great opportunity for everybody to understand and clarify your uncertainties a little bit more. Next question from Chetan is, by fall 21, will face-to-face on-campus classes start in the US? So Chetan, little bit, let me share my views. Umesh, please add on. But my view is that little early to say. It all really depends on when the vaccine comes out and how the coronavirus gets comes under control. However, the probability is yes, campuses will open up by fall 21. Also, if you're following the US, the coronavirus, the way it's spreading is very state specific. New York was very, very highly impacted when it first started spreading into the US. Right now, New York is no issue at all. Matter of fact, Florida and Texas and California are going through a really tough time right now. So my assumption is, depending on the state and how that state is regardless of an online or a hybrid or an offline class, you know that the Trump government have just accepted that all of these are acceptable, right? So, and by fall 21, obviously, I presume, I assume, and I think the probability is that most of the campuses will open up unless it's in a state
But there is a disclaimer there, which is that we should have a vaccine, and it also depends on what coast are you going for. Just like Nilanjan just shared with us that East Coast, particularly New York, was severely impacted. Now they are doing great, and other states like California and Florida, perhaps they took it too easy, and they have fallen prey to the virus. So this virus, one thing I'd like to add here, is not only dangerous, but it is very smart also. It can get you and catch you on guard.
Thank you, Mesh.
So
Thank you.
let's be hopeful that fall 2021, the campuses are working full swing, and they should. I think so.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you again. The next question, I will squarely put it on your court. Rohit wants to know, can you please help me decide what I should do to strengthen my profile for finance? I am a fresher, no internship, no CFA, few POR, few extracurriculars, above average acads, joining an old IIM this year. So only thing I would say is, Rohit, you should probably reach out to Umesh later on, one-on-one, to get more specific advice. But then Umesh, over to you. This is right in your alley. So please help Rohit out here.
Uh, Precisely what Nilanjan just said. Now, I would like to, again, I would encourage you to go for a discovery session. Share your resume with us so that we are able to analyze your resume, see what you have done, what are the activities that you have already done, and what is the scope for improvement. So you are encouraged to avail of a discovery session. You can also share your resume with us on our email ID, and I'll be very happy to talk to you about it, help you in all possible ways to improve your profile.
Okay, thanks, Umesh. Prasad has an interesting question. Can you put some views on MS in supply chain management and future scope of in this field? My quick thought is supply chains across the globe have been severely disrupted. But again, that means that they will need new ways to rebuild these supply chains. And universities and the university curriculums across the world will be at the forefront of making those changes in curriculum, right? So right now, if I were you, interested in MS in supply chain management, obviously it depends on which country you are targeting, which university. I think the top or the better countries in supply chain will continue to do well, and the rest will also do well in due course. Right now, it seems a little some disruptions in supply chains across the world. But again, all of these universities will be the reason why supply chains are redesigned and recharted in due course. If I were you, depending on the country and the college, I may want to defer my intake to a spring or to a fall. However, that totally depends on who you are, your goals, and things like that. But this is generally what I can say on supply chain. It's bound for a big rebound. A lot of new developments will come in into supply chain to tackle such global disruptions caused by viruses, pandemics, etc. So very interesting field right now to be in or to be looking at. Again, just to sum it up, my only advice is depending on the country and the college, you may want to defer, but you don't want to drop your plan completely studying supply chain. Okay, Umesh, anything from your side on this?
Yes, again, very well said, Nilanjan. I'd like to add here that supply chain is the backbone of any industry, any company, and we we are also sitting here and working from our home because someone else is taking care of the back end. So supply chain and operations management is evergreen field, and I'm sure it will have excellent scope in future as well. So don't worry about it. You can, you have a thumbs up for that. You can very well go in for MS in supply chain management. It will have a terrific scope going forward.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you. So next question is from Shreya. She wants to know what's the better option in the US considering current situation. Should I take the fall 20 term online and then join in Jan 21, or defer it to Jan 21 and get a fresh start? So what are your thoughts on this, Umesh?
Well, this is the most frequently asked question by the students. Now, it would depend. Now, if you are going in for a short-term program, say a 1 to 1.5 years program, and out of that, a significant portion of the program you have to do it online, then you will have less amount of time to leverage the ecosystem of the university, to mobilize the networking, to get into internship, because the more time you spend on campus, better chances of you know kind of getting a good internship in a company are there. So if you are going for a short-term program, I would definitely suggest you defer it to January 2021 and go for a on-campus program. But for someone who is going for a 4-year undergraduate program, I would say it makes sense to start taking online program so that you don't have any gap year also. So it depends on the situation. You can reach out to me. Sorry, I missed the name.
Yeah, so I think,
Rohit can
Umesh,
reach
there
out
is
to
a,
me.
sorry to interrupt you. There is a couple of requests saying that please share your contact slide again. So you may want to pull that up because
Oh
there are
yeah,
students
yeah. I
trying.
will do that right away.
Yeah, yeah, who'll reach out to you later on. Sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
No, no, no worries at all.
Okay, all right. So we have time for maybe one or two odd questions quickly, and nothing over that. Let me see. Okay, there is a question about when will US embassies open in India? Not anytime soon, I am guessing, because they are typically, unfortunately, located in cities where the coronavirus is quite impactful, such as Bombay, Delhi, I don't think the US embassy will take because US mandates on campus, sorry, physical interview for their visas. They will not want to open up embassies and invite thousands of people and not social distance and all of that. So no clear advisory from the US immigration departments on when they will resume full operations in India, to the best of my knowledge. Okay. Anything you know on this, Umesh?
Well, I would also say the same thing. Nilanjan. No clarity yet, but we are hoping things would become better. No clarity yet on this.
Okay, okay, great, great. I think that those are some of the uncertainties we'll continue to deal with, for some time. Nevertheless, I think with time, you
But for
will.
people who are applying to Canada, I have some information that if you can apply for the visa online, and recently their minister announced measures to expedite for expedited processing of visas also. So you can avail that benefit. Even if you are short on documentation, you can still get a provisional visa for studies to Canada.
Yep, yep, surely. Yes, Canada and also the Canadian government, as we discussed earlier, they will consider up to a 50% online course for not only the
Yes,
student permit but also for the postgraduate work
yes.
permit route. So
And that
Canada
was
has taken.
recently announced by their minister, so that information we believe is credible.
Yep, yep. It's certainly credible. Canada is obviously a very immigration-friendly country, and they have taken a very friendly stance towards immigrants and students during the coronavirus pandemic. So, okay, I will have, I think, one more question. I think Chetan wants to know if there is a gap between my graduation and post-graduation at US. I'm guessing a gap between your bachelor's in India and a US MS. If there is a gap, will it impact negatively? Not at all, provided you use the gap in a very, very constructive way. Learning a new language, now learning some new programming language or some analytics tool. Umesh was taking us through that earlier. And gap years in the US are a very common thing. Don't worry. I continue to see loan applications of students who have gaps between bachelor's and masters, and they get into the best of the best universities. But that gap they have used in a constructive manner by working or interning or doing research or learning languages online and things like that. So as long as you are willing to do that, uh, a gap year is really a non-issue in my purview. Uh, is there anything that you would like to add to this, Umesh?
Sure, you've almost answered the question. I would like to add here that they are interested in the journey of the candidate. So, they are interested in your story. So, if you are able to, strategically position your candidature addressing these gaps and talking about how you utilize this gap in, doing some community work or your personal development, they would rather give you meaty points for that because usually Indian students do not have a courage to take time out for their own personal development. So you will rather be a student who comes with a fresh breath of air if he has the courage to say that, look, I took time for my own development in this gap year.
Okay, yep, totally agree. I completely agree. Um, with that, we have actually run out of time today. Umesh, again, from the InCred family and from our audience, our viewers, I thank you wholeheartedly for coming aboard today and sharing your views and ideas and suggestions. I hope we were all able to assist the students get a little bit more clarity in terms of clearing some of their doubts and uncertainties. So thank you, everybody. With that, we have come to the end. If you have specific questions, obviously get in touch with Umesh's team at Ed Elevate about your study plans. If you need financing help on your studies, do go to incred.com and you can very easily start your loan application process from that portal itself. So once again, thank you everyone. Umesh, any last words from your side?
No, a big thank you to you and your team for having me here and providing me this opportunity to interact with students and to all the participants for investing their time. I hope they got the worth of the time invested in today's webinar.
Thank you very much, everybody. With that, we will close today's session. Thank you once again. Have a great day, and all the best for your future study plans to everybody.
Yes, all the best. Good luck. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
Umesh. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye bye.